I never believed in ghosts. To me, they were just stories told around campfires, characters in late night movies meant to give you a cheap thrill. But the house on Hemlock Lane, it changed everything. It wasn't just old, it felt ancient, heavy with secrets. The realtor called it a fixer-upper with character, an understatement if I ever heard one. From the moment I stepped inside, a coldness clung to me, a peculiar silence that even the bustling city outside couldn't penetrate. The first few weeks were deceptively normal. I was busy, you see, ripping up stained carpets, scraping away layers of peeling floral wallpaper, dreaming of turning this dilapidated shell into a home. I dismissed the odd noises as the house settling. A floorboard creaking upstairs when I was in the kitchen. A faint whisper that sounded like the wind, but the windows were sealed tight. I told myself it was just my imagination, fueled by too much caffeine and not enough sleep. Then came the third week. I was painting the living room, humming along to some music on my phone, when a chill sneaked up my spine. The kind of cold that has nothing to do with the temperature. My music sputtered and died. The air grew still. That's when I heard it clearly for the first time. A child's laughter echoing from the hallway. It was light, almost playful, but there was an undercurrent of something else. Something sad. My heart hammered against my ribs. I froze, paintbrush dripping pale blue onto the drop cloth. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. "Is anyone there?" Only silence answered. I forced myself to check. The hallway was empty. The doors to all the rooms were closed, just as I'd left them. I tried to laugh it off, blaming it on the old pipes or a neighbor's kid. But the feeling of being watched, it didn't go away. That night, sleep offered no escape. I dreamt of a little girl with big, sorrowful eyes and a pale blue dress. She was running through the halls of my house, but they were different. They were new. The wallpaper was pristine, the wood floors gleamed. She wasn't laughing anymore. She was crying, her small sobs echoing in the vast, empty rooms. I woke up in a cold sweat, the sound of her crying still ringing in my ears. The strange occurrences escalated. Objects would move. I'd leave my keys on the kitchen counter, only to find them on the mantelpiece. A book I was reading would be lying open on the floor, turned to a completely different page. It was maddening, like living with a mischievous, invisible roommate. But the laughter and the whispers started to turn into something more distinct. A name, Lily. It was always whispered, a breath against my ear when I was alone. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, I decided to dig into the history of the house. A trip to the town's records office revealed the original owners were the Ashworth family, who built the house in the early 1900s. They had a daughter. Her name was Lily. She died in the house when she was just 7 years old. The record said it was a sudden illness, but the old town clerk gave me a knowing look. "Tragic story," he'd said, his voice low. "Some say she never left." Knowing her name made it worse. It made her real. I started talking to her. "Lily," I'd say to the empty air, "I know you're here. I'm not trying to replace your family. I just want to make this place happy again." Sometimes after I spoke, the oppressive coldness in a room would lift, just for a moment. Other times, a door would slam shut as if in anger. It felt like I was dealing with a temperamental child I couldn't see. One evening, I was organizing some old boxes in the attic, the one place I'd been avoiding. It was cluttered with the remnants of past lives. Dust motes danced in the single beam of my flashlight. In a dark corner, tucked under a grimy canvas sheet, I found a small wooden trunk. It wasn't locked. With trembling hands, I lifted the lid. Inside, resting on a bed of faded velvet, was a single beautiful porcelain doll with wide glass eyes and a pristine blue dress. It was identical to the one the girl wore in my dream. As my fingers brushed against the doll's cold, smooth face, the attic doors slammed shut behind me, plunging me into total darkness. My flashlight clattered to the floor and went out. Panic seized me. I scrambled for the door, my hands scraping against the rough wood. It wouldn't budge. "Lily!" I screamed, my voice cracking. "Let me out, please." From the corner where the trunk was, I heard a soft sound. A rustle of fabric. Then a whisper, clearer than ever before, right beside my ear. "Will you play with me?" It wasn't a question, it was a demand. The air dropped 20 degrees. I could feel a small, cold hand slip into mine. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel her presence, overwhelming and absolute. She wasn't just a sad memory anymore. She was here. I don't know how long I was in that attic. It felt like an eternity. I just stood there, paralyzed, my hand held in an icy grip. I talked to her. I told her about my life, my dreams for the house. I promised I wouldn't forget her. I promised she wouldn't be alone anymore. Slowly, so slowly, the grip on my hand loosened. The oppressive cold began to recede. And then, with a soft click, the attic door swung open, revealing the dim light of the hallway. I fled the attic, leaving the trunk and the doll behind. I never went back up there. Things are different now. The house is so cold sometimes. I still hear a whisper on the wind or a soft footstep in an empty hall, but it's not menacing anymore. It's just present. Sometimes when I'm working in the garden, I'll see a flicker of movement out of the corner of my eye, a small shape in a pale blue dress darting behind a tree. I never did finish fixing up the house completely. Some rooms I just leave closed. I think they belong to her. I learned that you don't own a house like this one. You just become part of its story. I don't know if I'll ever leave. Maybe I can't. Maybe Lily doesn't want me to. After all, I promised I would stay and play. I don't believe in ghosts. I live with one, and she's waiting for me. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed Tales of the Unexplained, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You never know what might be waiting in the shadows.